Hey ladies and gents, I hope you're all doing very well. Welcome to the eFootball breakdown video where I'll be looking more closely at this official gameplay trailer from Konami and diving into the detail, pointing out things I may have missed, you may have missed, and I'm going to give you my overall opinion at the end. So it starts off with some on-field action in the background, which we'll see repeated later on, whilst we have this awful font with horrible spacing filling our screens. The presentation quality of this video is so low quality, and this is just the start. If I just go back and rewind this a second, I can actually point out two things I did like about the start of this trailer, one of which is the volumetric and dynamic lighting effects in the Camp Nou, and the other is these new cutscenes which have been added, which we didn't see in last year's edition. The trailer then moves into controlling the ball touch, and I absolutely hate that sentence, by the way, but I actually really like what I'm seeing here. As Iniesta picks up the ball, previously moving the ball right or left using the finesse dribble would result in exactly the same type of animation in PES 2021. The player would normally roll his foot over the top of the ball, but here he uses two different types of animation as he moves left and right. The dribbling in this next part looks so fluid and responsive here. Obviously we won't know how it feels until the controller's in our hands, but in my opinion it does look super responsive and fluid, judging by the way the players and the defenders are reacting. Admittedly the grass doesn't look great, but overall graphically this is certainly an upgrade over the first trailer that we saw, and we'll see further evidence of that later in this trailer. There's clearly a heavy focus on the 1v1 duels in the early part of this video, and I just wanted to slow this right down here to see if there's any break in animations with Kubo, but you can clearly see it's super smooth even at quarter speed. I also noticed the defender has proper foot planting and isn't gliding or skating across the pitch. Sometimes you won't notice things unless you slow them right down. Watch here as he clips his own heels as he's running to ensure he makes proper connection with the ball. I'm going to cover off the controls in another video, but there was talk of there being no super cancel. But maybe it's no longer needed because you can clearly see Neymar backing away from the ball here as he receives it to feet and at the last second cuts inside the defenders. In PES 2021, this would be a fairly complex move for a new player to perform, but it just looks like they're making it far more accessible. It's, just to cater for the mobile users, if anyone. I do love the disconnect here between the player and the ball, and as you can see they're completely separate entities and don't feel like they're glued together. This game is going to receive a lot of negativity, and rightly so for the way it's been marketed, but I'll tell you something, I'm not going to miss players who can blindly close their eyes, hold X, and more often than not win the ball back with little to no skill. It certainly looks like this year's edition is going to be a battle of wits between attacker and defender, and that all the skills are actually going to work rather than just a handful. Here's another concerning aspect from me upon closer inspection. Just look at Sule here, how he turns clockwise, but then decides to turn 360 degrees anti-clockwise as he gets turned by Ansu Fati. Next are the physical battles. I really love this as long as the command is actually being input by the player's controller and it's not just by holding down a physical button. I just love the way the defender takes two attempts to win the ball and then we see him shield the ball by backing into the player approaching from behind. Once again, we're seeing that disconnect between the player and the ball, and I just absolutely love that. Next is all about performing a sharp kick, and what they mean by that is a driven pass or shot, but it's only part of a future update and won't be upon the game's release. This is something we've seen in FIFA for those who have played it. In FIFA it can be abused to create sort of ping pong passing, but here they suggest it'll actually take your player longer to control this type of pass just to balance the gameplay. It's certainly a welcome addition, and it's nice to see them take some ideas from FIFA. They then go on to focus on the duels between two players, one-on-one, and they show a little bit of background data here so you can see how each action is being calculated for each second as they twist and turn with the ball, before they go on to mention about reworking the system that judges fouls. But I'm going to be honest, I'll believe it when I see it, because for as long as I can remember, no game has ever got refereeing correct. I'm still not happy with some of the defending being witnessed here, and it's Pique, who's an ambassador of all people, being sent into the advertising boardings this time, after a fairly simple turn by Iniesta. It is a nice skill move, but not one that would yeet a top professional into the stands. And it would be frustrating losing control of your player, even for a few split seconds, whilst he goes to grab a pie. We get to see the new cutscenes. The thing I noticed here was that the graphics were a step up from the first trailer. They're certainly not next gen graphics, but anyone expecting next gen on the Unreal 4 engine needs to have their heads checked. But that's not to say the graphics look bad. They look decent enough, especially as the players make their way onto the pitch, and the crowd looks much improved to the synchronized jumping mess that we saw in the original trailer. The tactical screen looks so simplified. I'm hoping the user in this example has chosen simple settings, as this looks really dumbed down. There's no fluid formation, attacking, defending or advanced instructions, but judging by this, it's still in development because there's actually still nowhere to select a formation. So let's just take a look at the team playstyles. So possession, players maintain tight positioning to maximize their effectiveness of short passes. They will generally avoid dashing into spaces behind the opposition defense. Long ball counter, players spread out to enable you to effectively use long passes to set up attacks. Even players far away from the ball holder will actively look for opportunities to rush in behind the opposition's backline to create scoring opportunities. Quick counter, players will spring a counter-attack by actively dashing towards the opponent's goal. Players will focus on long balls rather than trying to dominate the midfield. They will prepare to receive long passes, and the surrounding players will also position themselves to pick up any sort of second loose balls if needed. And then finally, out wide, players will focus on attacking from the sides and crossing the ball for a winner shot. When players notice the ball is in a good position to be crossed into the area, they will dash into position to try and score a goal. So apart from crossing the ball for a winner shot, the English was spot on, and the best part is there's no ambiguity around the play styles. It's straightforward, easy to understand what each play style actually does. They're actually giving us some great examples here too. As we're seeing out wide, you see the player hugging the touchline. And then here we've got quick counter. So you can see players darting forward as soon as they turn over the ball. And he just tucks it in at the near post. Here, long ball. You can see players getting in and around to support, looking for the knock-ons before they get it wide. Possession. Players coming short for the ball. Even the strikers. They're not looking to run in behind. So they're just patiently waiting. Long ball counter. So you can sort of see the defense sitting deep. But as soon as they win the ball here, this is when they'll spring their attack. And this is when players will move forward. Really good examples, and I thought that was really, really well done. We got to see a good chunk of gameplay there in the typical dynamic camera and how the tactics impact the teams, which was great to see, and the graphics aren't that bad at all. They're certainly better than mobile graphics. The goalies also look toned down from what I played of the new football game open beta, as this shot would have been saved as they were notorious for saving ridiculously powerful shots at the near post. They then show us the dual cam, which I was not a fan of. In all honesty, I found it zooming in and out at all the wrong times. Basically, anytime a player approaches you, the camera zoomed right in, ready for that 1v1 duel, when all you want to do is look for another teammate on the pitch, especially if you're more central. This would be fine if it only worked in the final third or the final third in the wide areas. A setting for that, and it could work very, very nicely. But as you'll see, the poor chap picks up the ball in midfield, and then the camera starts zooming in on him, making it very, very hard to see where you've got to pass to. They then mentioned the new motion matching system that creates natural and fluid player movement, something I spotted early on in my initial live reaction video, and at the start of this video as well with Iniesta on the ball. As I said, he was sort of jinking through the midfielders and defenders. The animations just look so fluid and smooth, which is great for those of us who want a fun, responsive game. And you can see here the number of variations with the background data being displayed. They also said that this tech helped ball movement movement and ball physics become even more realistic, and that's something I've witnessed in FIFA with a very similar technology called hypermotion. But I'm really impressed they're looking to further improve that aspect of the game when I thought it was very, very good in PES 2021. The seamless restart system is a really nice touch which helps keep the action going. We get to see a quickly taken goal kick before players have had the chance to scamper back, which is a real nice feature because when I played online, I either aimed to score or miss the goal completely because it would mean my team would reset back in position. But with this new feature, that exploit is actually taken away. This trailer certainly wasn't without its faults, and there's another one here as Durangel67 on Twitter spotted the crowd not rendering correctly on the left hand side. They mention eFootball evolving alongside the community and listening to fan feedback, and with eFootball not being an annual release, this means they're free to update, change and add new features to the game more frequently. So instead of waiting until next September or October 2022, they could port this over to the Unreal 5 engine once it's live and start implementing the new technology. They're not restricted by time constraints. They can freely update the game whenever they want, and that only benefits us, the consumers. I've been called deluded for saying this is a massive step up from the original trailer, which I believe it is, whilst others have agreed with me. You know, it's fine to have differing opinions, guys. There's no point falling out with each other over, you know, your opinions. You're going to stick with them. It's like having an opinion of saying Messi's the greatest, Maradona's the greatest, Ronaldo's the greatest. It doesn't matter. Everyone's got their own opinion and you got to accept it. You're not going to change that opinion. You know, I slated the first trailer, and rightly so, for, you know, in my opinion, that was so bad. But this is a step up from that. I didn't expect next-gen graphics. I haven't expected next-gen graphics for the past 6 months because, you know, we found out the Unreal 5 engine wasn't going to be ready in time, as I mentioned in one of my past news articles. If you were expecting next-gen graphics, then you're going to be massively disappointed. All I'm interested in is the gameplay right now because that's all I can hang on to. You know, I am overall disappointed that the graphics aren't what I was expecting, because I thought the Unreal 5 engine would be here in time when we first saw the very first trailer almost, a year and a half ago. My reservation won't be decided on this game until I get my hands on the controller and play it for myself. You know, even when I saw the tremendously bad first trailer, at that point I realized that, you know, until I get my hands on that controller, I'm not going to say I'm not going to play this game. I've never looked or watched a trailer and thought I'm not playing this game, even if it was one that I was sort of excited about. I can tell if a game is going to interest me or not. You know, I've played some of the worst reviewed games of all time and still enjoyed playing them. Just because the reviewer didn't enjoy playing the game didn't mean that I didn't enjoy playing the game. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you disliked it, then that's absolutely fine by me and I respect that. If you liked it, I'm fine with that too. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the breakdown. If you did, it would be greatly appreciated if you can overhead kick that like button and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Oh, I am the chosen one. I can't say any more than that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.